In this next video, we're going to calculate the percentage of the total or the percentage of the grand total. It's a very common calculation that's used in Excel and really throughout the entire business world. Before we start, we're kind of looking at what we've already completed here. And you notice that I have in yellow my total profit. If I quickly double left click it, I can see how I calculated my total profit is by summing from G5 to G16. This number right here, this is my total profit. So I'm going to come up to the cell here, and what we're going to do now for each of the items is we're going to calculate the percentage of the total profit. Now if we had just a calculator, we would end up going and just saying, well, I'm going to take 8055 divided by 5418. And for the next one, I would take 229 divided by 5418. And for this one here, it would be 2447 divided by 5418. Now the pattern that you're going to kind of notice is that the denominator, or the total profit, is not changing. That's why I have it in yellow. That total profit, to make our calculations for each of the parts, can't change. It's always going to be 5418 37 cents. So it has to be locked in. So I'm going to show you the correct way of doing this, but I'm also going to begin with an example. Equal 8055, which happens to be in G5, divided by my total. Check mark. I want to change the, we're going to change the formatting here. So let's change this right off to percent, so it kind of makes more sense. Let's increase the percentages or the decimal places. So it's 1.49. I went up here, I clicked here, and now it's by 2 decimal places. And if I quickly double left click, it's showing me my formula, G5 divided by G17. That's the correct pattern, I think. So I'm going to go up to my fill handle and drag it on down. But all of a sudden I'm getting some crazy answers here. Let's come down specifically to one of these division by 0. Once again, like, we're getting some crazy answers here. We can see there's something going on here, which is like an error statement. Even up here, I know that 2447 divided by this is not equal to 100%. There's something going on here. But let's even start here to kind of trace what our mistake is. If I quickly double left click here, I can see that the formula is going and saying, okay, 46080 divided by this cell here, which is G21. There's nothing in cell G21. Come over here, quickly double left click. G10 divided by G22. Look, there's nothing in here. That denominator in all cases should be locked in. This is what I always want to be dividing by, my grand total. Let's go up even over here. We can see G6 divided by G18. No, that's not what we want to divide by. We should have locked in G17. This is a common mistake. How we rectify that, or how we correct it. This is correct up to this point. We always want to take our number here and divide it by G17. But we need to lock in that value for G17. And how we do that is by turning G17 into an absolute. It's a locked in value. So how you do that once again is we click here and then tap the function key F4. And by doing that, we're now seeing a $G, $17. We've locked in that value. We've made it into an absolute. Click the check mark, and now let's drag that down. And everything is calculating correctly now. If I double left click here, it's 165 divided by 5418, which happens to be in G17. We've locked in that value. We've made it into an absolute. Here, 100 divided by G17. We've locked in that value. We've locked in the value, which is the total cell. And the total cell is in G17. But it's a real important point. This amount divided by G17. You know it's an absolute if you got those dollar signs. $G, $17. We've locked in that value of G17. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the if function. And the if function is always made up of three arguments. The first argument is the condition. That's line 1. The second argument, or line 2, is if your condition is met, or if it's a true statement, something happens. Line 3 has to do with the third argument, or third line. And what that's dealing with is if the condition is false, something else happens. So my example I usually use is that my condition, if it's sunny, this is really having to do with the summertime, that's line 1. Line 2, if it's true, if it's sunny, I go, or McKenna goes to the beach. Line 3, otherwise, or in other words, it's not sunny, then I stay home and read a book. So we're going to be kind of using that same logic in our if statement. So we're going to begin by using an if statement, which is a function. So we're up here in cell I5. We're going to enter our function. And how we put in our if function is by clicking on fx, insert a function. The if function is always used. It's very common, so it's usually going to be appearing here. But if it wasn't, you would type in if and then click on go. But it is appearing. So we're going to highlight our if function, click OK. And now we're going to enter in our if function. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to calculate which stores should be closed. So how we're going to develop that is that any store, our condition is if a store is less than 5% in this range, if it's less than 5%, we're going to close it. Otherwise, it's okay. So, if this amount here, H5, we're going to start off here, is less than 5% is decimal point 0.05. That's our condition. The amount here is less than 5%. If that's true, this is the second line. We're going to close it. Otherwise, if it's false, it's okay. So we have 3 lines of information. Our condition, if this amount here is less than 5%, if it's true, we're going to close it. Otherwise, it's okay. Quickly double left click, and it's showing me what's happening. If this amount here is less than 0.05, we're going to close it. Otherwise, it's okay. We're going to copy that pattern down. Once again, we can come up here, quickly double left click it. It's showing us what our formula is. If that H16, the value in H16 is less than 5%, we're going to close it. Otherwise, it's okay. Still another way of editing that function if we made a mistake on it, and I think it's a lot easier to edit it in this way if it wasn't correct. You could click on the function or in the cell. Okay, got a function here. Click the FX, and it's showing us. So we could go in here and edit that and then hit OK. But our function is all right. If H5 is less than 5%, my condition. If it's true, we're going to close it. Otherwise, if it's false, it's okay. In the real world, a lot of times, that's how they select which stores or which products are going to be closed or discontinued. Now I'm going to show one last thing, and we're going to look at conditional formatting. Conditional formatting allows you to color in a cell or range of cells based upon some condition. So we could highlight this area here, here to here. Conditional formatting. So once again, we've highlighted this range here. We want to color in those stores that are going to be closed, and we're going to use conditional formatting. How you do that is we highlighted it first. Click on conditional formatting. Come over to highlight cell rules. Move down to text that contains. And what we're looking for, the ones that we want to color in, is within this range, anything that has close in it. Or in other words, it's going to be closed. So we're going to type in close. Now you can change the various colors. So close, click OK. And what's happened now is now it stands out. Those stores that are going to be closed are now colored in. So once again, we used our conditional or if statement. We used our if statement to identify those stores that are going to be closed. Starting up here, here's our statement or function, an easier way of looking at that function. Clicking here, clicking up on fx. It's showing, it's spelled right out. It makes it a lot easier to edit it. Then what we did is we highlighted that range of cells, clicked on Conditional Formatting. We went to Highlight Cell Rules and Text that contains. Once again, this is the conclusion of this video. Thank you.